It has been years since I have traveled to Alaska, and every year since, I've had the desire to return. But, like many significant things in life, the timing needs to be right. So, I had to wait. I had to wait for the right moment, the right reasons, and the right crew. Alaska is a powerful place. Your age doesn't matter, and your experience level doesn't matter. Everyone walks away changed. Out of all the different methods of travel in this world, there is something uniquely special to traveling in your own vehicle. Especially when it's built to take you further than you expect and allows you to thrive in the journey. But a vehicle will only get you so far. It's really your adventurous spirit that will allow for all of this to happen. This crew is made of the young and the young at heart. My years of traveling now have taught me that the best teams are made up of people who are willing to be stretched. The idea on this trip is that we all have something to offer and to learn. And even though some of us are more seasoned than the other, we are still looking to learn new things, no matter how big or small. My dad brought me to Alaska when I was a young man. He handed me his old real estate camera and 10 rolls of film to document our trip, and he unknowingly changed my life forever. Now, hopefully this adventure will provide the opportunity to reciprocate that to a new generation of adventure travelers. I don't know what will happen, but what I can guarantee is that none of us will walk out of this one the same. Expedition Overland's The Last Frontier is presented by General Tire and the Grabber X3. Anywhere is possible. And Toyota, the official vehicle provider of XOverland, and in association with Patriot Campers and PCOR Systems. After 4 days traveling north through the Inside Passage on the marine vessel Kennecott, we are coming into port in Whittier, Alaska. The starting point of our month-long journey in the 49th state of Alaska. Over the next month, we'll be traveling all over this great state. We'll be trying to soak in all the great experiences that we can. Our first objective is to ready the trucks for a day of travel. After 7 months of planning, our tires finally reach the shores of mainland Alaska. After we make it through the Whittier train tunnel, we will briefly split ways to establish camp and pick up our last 2 team members flying into Anchorage tonight. We as a team immediately start to work within our roles. Dan Van Stralen is 17, and he will be our main navigator. My son Cyrus will be his understudy. Now 16, he needs to get some serious drive time as he's working towards his driver's license. Peter Van Stralen is 19 and will be a lead driver and expedition leader in training. Ryan Connelly is a mentor and lead on maintaining the convoy. I am expedition leader, at least for a little while. After we make it through the Whittier train tunnel, we will briefly split ways to establish camp and pick up our last 2 team members flying into Anchorage tonight. Run right down the train tracks. Here's the TRD exhaust. Like I said, some of us are still young at heart. Dan finds a camp spot at the southern edge of the Cook Inlet, just south of Anchorage.
Okay, Ryan, good luck. Get those other guys. We will see you later in camp. Dan, take us to camp.
We will link up with the other guys in a couple of hours. The first camp of any trip is always a bit of a slower process. It takes a bit to get the gears turning. But camp is designed to be very efficient and comfortable, and within a night or two, this camp will take 10 minutes to pitch. A little less than 2 weeks ago, I had an emergency appendectomy. I have made this inconvenient setback as my main excuse to have the best bed in camp inside the X3 trailer. With my appendix out, I'm not supposed to lift more than 15 pounds for 6 weeks. Good thing my doctor isn't here. Yet. We have brought 2 boats on this trip to help us explore beyond the trucks. One is packed inside the other, and we will have to load and unload them almost every day from here on out. It's dinner time, and my night to cook. My goal is to have it ready right as the other guys arrive, and they're not far behind. Ryan delivers the next 2 old guys of the crew. Tanner Johnson, a seasoned Expedition Overland member, and our main photographer and mechanic, and my good friend, Dr. John Solberg. This is the first time some of these guys have met, and the team chemistry is looking good already. Dr. John and I have spent weeks together in Arctic trucks as we crossed the Greenland ice sheet on the Expedition 7 trip in 2018. But that story is for another time. He has never seen my cooking skills. And he doesn't seem impressed. Matter of fact, no one seems impressed. Except Ryan, who for as long as I've known him will eat anything without complaint. I think it's going to be important to hit a grocery store sooner than later. We have a new fleet for this trip. 2 brand new Tacomas and a 5th-gen 4Runner towing our X3 Patriot camper trailer. The lead truck is Adigan, a 2021 TRD off-road Tacoma, equipped with factory rear locker and the high-end traction controls from Toyota. The biggest modification to the driveline would be the tire size. We have equipped this Tacoma and the other vehicles with a reduced gearing ratio to accommodate 35-inch General Grabber X3s. The X3s are the perfect choice for the abusive, muddy, rocky Alaskan roads, the very environment these tires are designed for. Icon Vehicle Dynamics' new CDEV shocks allow for optimal compression adjustments through intelligent feedback while in motion, providing the best ride our trucks have ever had. For protection, CBI built a concept aluminum armor system, including a front bumper, wider sliders for cameramen, and full skid plate systems, striking the perfect balance between weight and protection. Within the front bumper, a Warn Xeon 10 winch has been installed, with the all-new Spydura Nightline for safer technical extractions in low-light conditions, if we should need it. The rear of Adigan is where the real work has been put in. This is the first Tacoma PCOR tray and canopy system in the world, and it's our job to put it to the test. I absolutely love PCOR systems and believe they increase a truck's functionality beyond any other work truck bed alternative. They are simply incredible. And the PCOR accommodates a Red Arc Manager 30 power system, which manages our battery systems that feed our camera gear, lights, pumps, and integrated refrigerator. In addition, the PCOR has storage side drawers, an interior drawer, and a rear pull-out tool drawer. Underslung is an integrated 20-gallon water tank to keep the truck's crew hydrated. Starting from the front of the Tacoma, the roof line is upfitted with a Princer roof rack over the cab, accommodating a light bar, max tracks, alu boxes, and a cell phone booster antenna. On the PCOR roof, the K9 load bars provide mounting options for 2 Big Sky rod boxes for our fly fishing rods and a Red Arc 180-watt solar panel to keep the truck's lithium house battery charging through the Manager 30. PCOR's new awning is positioned on the passenger side to provide massive 270-degree protection from the elements. The convoy's second position is held by the 4Runner known as the Clone. It is equipped with 35-inch grabbers, Icon compass wheels, and EV shocks as well. Front-end protection is similar to the Tacomas, with all aluminum protection and a Warn winch. The K9 roof rack accommodates the alu boxes and easy-on rooftop tent where Tanner and Peter sleep. The interior is equipped with a goose gear drawer and sleep system for Cyrus. The X3 trailer is our main galley system. It has our primary fridge, 40 gallons of water, a hot water heater, and a grill in the front box. Dr. John and I will sleep in the live-in camper. The galley side PCOR awning will keep us protected from the Alaskan rainy season. Raven is the brother Tacoma to Adigan. all primary upfits are the same as far as general tires, wheels, protection, and accessories. However, Raven retains its factory rear bed, where we have installed a go-fast camper for its topper and tent combination, which is now Dan and Ryan's quarters. The truck bed is organized with a decked drawer system, making it easy to grab group gear. An ARB fridge freezer provided by overlander.com is set to 0 degrees and will store our frozen food items. All of the power is managed by a RedArc Red Vision system and maintained by the 150-watt solar panel on the roof. All the camper's functions are controlled from the Red Vision. Lights, refrigerator power, USB ports, etc. are all allocated within the system draw and charge. The rear of the truck features a CBI dual swing out that allows us to carry additional fuel and relocate the underslung spare to the rear. Inside our trucks are communication systems, and they consist of ICOM radios, a Garmin InReach mini satellite system that are paired to our main overland navigation devices mounted on each of the vehicle's dashes. With these systems, we are able to communicate across the fleet with radios and over the horizon with satellite communications.
This place is fantastic, and being at the start of the trip is the greatest because it's all ahead of you. It's the thing I am the most excited about, that I've been anticipating for a long time, is to spend time with my son on a big trip. Special to be here, that he's old enough to be a part of the team, and I really look forward to sharing some of my experiences of Alaska with the guys.
What I think I'll learn is a lot of new bushcrafting stuff. I've already learned how to make a face in a log, so, and a little stick. And I love driving. I've been excited to drive like ever since I was young and just waiting to get my license. I just got my learner's permit and working towards my driver's license, and my dad's making me drive a lot, so.
You can't spend a month in the out of doors and come back the same person. It doesn't matter how many times you've done it. I think being outside helps us discover things about ourselves. It can sometimes maybe highlight some of our own character flaws when we work in a group like this. But it always provides an opportunity to make yourself a little bit better and to learn from your mistakes, learn from the knowledge of others, and hopefully come back from the outdoors a better human. I've been an ER doctor for 15 years, and I want everybody to come home safely, and it's a personal responsibility to make sure that everybody is safe and cared for. And anytime you go outside and you're working with vehicles or winches, sharp objects, firearms, there's the chance for somebody to get injured. And I just want everybody to be safe and come home unscathed.
All right, so I'm one of the younger members of this group, and I'm just really excited to learn. We got a very experienced crew this time, all with a wealth of knowledge, and I hope I can tap into a little bit of that on this trip. Also, as one of the younger members, I'm really working on making sure I'm pulling my weight and being a valuable team member, because like I said, the group of guys we're with are very experienced and efficient with how they do stuff. So just kind of keeping up, making sure my own stuff is in order.
Well, I'm excited about Alaska itself. Like, the place is, you can tell it's a rough and tough place. You can see it in the landscape from the second you step off the boat, in our case, or as soon as you step onto it. You can almost smell it in the air. Something I've noticed in myself is taming my ego a bit, because I have spent many years, or past 6 years on the road, living full-time on the road with my own family. I think I've done a lot and I know some stuff, but then you listen to anyone like Dr. John or Ryan or Tanner or Clay, when they talk about stuff, they're like, oh yeah, 10 years ago I was in Alaska doing this, or I was, in this crazy cool place doing something, some cool adventure. So longer than I've been total on the road, it's just a memory, and they've got a massive wealth of knowledge, of true knowledge of everything that I want to learn. So being one of the younger guys, I have to make sure that I'm really investing myself into what they're saying, listening to everything they're saying.
What do I think about being one of the old guys? In fact, I think the first time I've ever been the oldest guy on a trip, so that's pretty cool. I don't feel like an old guy. I said this last night around the fire. In my brain, I'm like 24, 28, maybe if I'm really stretching my maturity level. So I don't feel like an old guy. And it's interesting, the things that I've done or seen, I don't realize that they are things other people haven't. And so even last night I connected the dots like, oh, that is an experience I've had that no one else has or has had yet, and I can share it and hopefully have them experience it as well.
Don't really know what to expect. I've never been to Alaska. This is my first time. Super excited to be here. Always wanted to come since I was a kid, but I can get so caught up in wanting to get the best shot, getting photos, getting the video, and I really want to be able to just stop, obviously get the shots that we need for the trip and the series, but I also want to be able to enjoy and savor being here, because it's an issue I've always had where I'm always caught up in getting the photos, getting the video, and I never enjoy being in the moment.
By the end of this trip, I would love to see a very cohesive group of guys that can lean on each other for years to come potentially. We've got young guys and experienced guys and older guys. I guess I'm one of the old guys now. I hope they learn a lot from us. I know I'm going to learn a lot from them, and I look forward to walking away from this trip a better guy.
We are packing up to make our way to Anchorage, where we have a plane waiting for us. And with that, the training begins. Cyrus will be behind the wheel today. And anyone who can't back up a trailer will be good at it before the end of the trip. We are headed to Lake Hood, the epicenter for Alaskan backcountry access, and it's our takeoff point to a very special destination. The place where I've got my first big gig as a storyteller.
Wow.
A lot of float plane. The most highly concentrated float plane epicenter of the world.
Wow. Incredible.
So we are at Lake Hood, just outside of Anchorage, Alaska. It's the largest man-made water airport in the world. All of Alaska pretty much hubs out of this little airport here for all the remote access. So today we're going in. We're going to take off from Regal Air, head out to Rainy Pass Lodge, which is where I pretty much got all my skills to start shooting shows. So come with us.
Yeah, I just can't wait to get to the lodge and check it out. I've been hearing a lot of good stories, so it's gonna be awesome.
We are loading up into a 1961 de Havilland Beaver. It's the icon of the northern bush plane. Fully designated as the de Havilland Canada DHC-2 Beaver, The Beaver is a single-engine, high-wing, propeller-driven short takeoff and landing aircraft. It was developed by the de Havilland Canada Corporation shortly after World War II, as the company made a transition from producing military aircraft to designing and building aircraft for civilian applications. This plane has an airspeed of 122 miles an hour and is powered by a 450 horsepower Pratt & Whitney reciprocating engine. Only 1,657 Beavers were made in their 20-year production run, and fewer of them remain airworthy as time takes its toll. However, the older they get, the more beautiful they are.
Alright guys, here we go. Here, prop.
We are headed to Rainy Pass Lodge. It's a place that immersed me into Alaska over a decade ago. And it's just over an hour's flight to the lake, some 130 air miles to the northwest, over a sliver of Alaska's massive and pristine wilderness. Due to the lodge's remoteness, it warns travelers to be fully prepared for a survival situation if needed. Our pilot Kip has been flying remote lakes and strips for 9 years, but he's about to pursue new adventures, and this flight is one of his last as a commercial Beaver pilot.
So how do you set this plane up for slow flight?
What are we doing? We're giving the engine a slow, we don't want to shock cool radial. Radials are super sensitive to jockeying, so we're just doing a slow cool down. Got a time in it, like power reductions. Then we're slowly bringing in a little bit of flaps. I got a couple of degrees in now, and I kind of just go back and forth between pulling power out, putting a little bit of flaps in. Nice and gentle. Holding on this altitude around this knob. Hold on a little bit of airspeed. As we kind of scout the lake, checking to make sure there's no debris on the water, checking wind direction. That's the one thing about floats, you're landing at places that don't have a windsock, so you're just learning to read the water. Let it tell you what direction the wind's out of. But we're gonna go around this little nubbin, this little mesa of a hill, and we'll land down valley.
Nicely done.
Hey boys.
So smooth.
Put greasers down all day with a full plane, it's nice.
That was insanely smooth,
Yeah.
I thought. That was perfect.
Yeah, just gonna let the engines cool down for a second. We'll get you on the dock there and kick you guys out.
Sounds good.
Hey guys. Good, how you all doing? You guys happy to see the green monster? It's there. A little soupy, yep, it's a little soupy. We made it happen.
How you doing? I'm Steve. Yeah, good to meet you. Yeah, nice to meet you. Ethan, how you doing? I'm Steve. Cyrus, good to meet you. Who's this guy up front there? Hey, Clay.
Peter.
Hello. How's it going, buddy? Good to see you, man. It's been a while. It's been a long time, 10 years. Yeah. Good to see you. Well to have you here. It feels so good. Yeah?
It feels great to be back, and to see the parents again is like reuniting with family after years of being gone.
That was almost the most epic thing I've ever been on in my entire life. Awesome. We were like right underneath the clouds.
I know.
Trees coming up. That was unbelievable.
What was amazing, I never felt like I was more than 100 feet off the ground. Like,
Yeah, it was 1,000 feet or less
see
the
everything.
whole way. There is nothing cooler than being on a beaver float plane in Alaska. I mean, it could have been another plane, or like a beaver in another cool place. But to be on a beaver in Alaska, it is pinnacle. I'll never top. I know. I'll never top it. No. Awesome.
Well, welcome to the lodge.
Kip takes off, leaving us alone at the lodge until another flight can hopefully make its way in tomorrow, if the weather holds. Rainy Pass Lodge is the oldest hunting lodge in Alaska. It's steeped in Alaskan history, hunting legends, gold, and the Iditarod sled dog race. Steve and Denise's parents have made major sacrifices over the years to make their dreams of lodge ownership a reality. Their son, Steve Jr., also carries the passion for the lodge and is the future of this amazing place. A walkthrough of the lodge spurs on stories I haven't thought about in years.
This building we call the Hunter's Lodge. This cabin was built in 1973. This is where our hunters stay when they come out here. But it's a fun hangout spot. All the hunters can come in here for social hour and hors d'oeuvres, and this is where all the hunting lies get told. And one neat thing in here is that log tripod up there. It's got a wooden dowel drilled through the middle of it. That was one of the original Iditarod Trail tripod markers to mark the trail. And Bucky, who's an old timer out here, saved that off the trail before it rotted away. And we were told there was only one other one that was saved, and the rest just, eventually rotted away.
I was in this one, Clay? Yeah, I was in this one. I slept here.
This one's awesome.
I was laying here, finally getting a nap one afternoon, and it was in the summer, and heard this. I was like, who's weed eating? And the thing doesn't sound like it's running good. Kind of came to it, and I was like, no, that's something different. That's an airplane. I go running out with I think Zach was with me or something. And we go out the door right there, and here comes this airplane coming in right here. And as they got about right here, cut out.
Oh, edge.
Remember that?
Yeah.
Straight into the dirt strip.
Yep. The European guys that were flying around the world.
Bunch of British dudes. They're flying around the world and got bad gas in Magadan, Russia. And we're flying over here like this, and they got water in the fuel, and they had problems, and they hit the nearest GPS, landing strip, and it was Rainy Pass Lodge, and right for it.
Yeah.
And it quit them right here, coming in.
That was scary. Low wing planes. The guy was so grateful to land here. He he thought he was going to die at first when his engine was quitting. And then that night he got really wasted.
Oh yeah, they all did.
And then disappeared in the brush. And I got woken up at 3 in the morning because they couldn't find him. And he was just somewhere.
I think it was a couple of the guys came in here. Clay, there's a guy. One of the British guys is missing. So I'm like, out of a straight stupor. I come out. I was like, where was he last seen? And I fell back asleep. Clay, he's missing. And I woke up and I was like, what color of clothes was he wearing? I fell back to sleep. We were just working so hard. And then eventually we got all up and we're looking everywhere. And you were working on the septic system at the time. We were all like, hope he didn't fall in that thing.
Right.
Hope he didn't fall in the lake. Because, that night they had been drinking the Winston Churchill's brandy till they were gone. And all of a sudden this guy's comes up next to me and we're all looking for stuff. And he's like, what are we looking for? And we're like, we're looking for... And it was him. I was like, we're looking for you. And he's like, well, I was wondering why all these torches were swinging about. That's what he said.
That was crazy.
Well, what are your first impressions?
Well, Rainy Pass Lodge is certainly a historic place, and anybody who knows much of the history of Alaska is familiar with it, and it's really pretty incredible to be here. There's so much history that it's just truly a privilege to be able to be here and see it.
Once you're at Rainy Pass Lodge, there really is only one way of transportation: horses.
But we saddle them this way. And then this loop that you made, you're going to pull that right through there, and that tightens it down.
Tanner, how do you feel about getting on a horse?
Oh, I'm feeling good. I've had some bad experiences in the past, so I'm always a little nervous. My wife loves horses. She rides with the Bozeman Satellites, a drill team, and so she grew up with them. I grew up with them, but she's had better experiences probably than I have, or she's better with horses, so I've always stayed on the ground and preferred vehicles. But Mo sounds like he's a pretty nonchalant horse, so that's who I've been assigned to. So we'll see how it goes. I have confidence.
I once had to whip Mo to motivate him to escape death in the river as water filled his panniers filled with our camera gear. It's good to see him still kicking. Our ride will take us to the top of Lookout Point, where we can get the full lay of the land.
I've had a couple horse experiences, just enough to know that I don't like them.
Still mind-boggling to think about how far away from anything we are right now. Like, it's easy to be up in the woods and be like, oh yeah, there's a road over there, a town over there. No. Hundreds of miles from anything. The number just keeps getting higher too. We're thousands of miles.
We're at least 5,000 miles.
Yeah, a million miles.
Brings back great memories. Learning to film from a horse, which as you can see is not easy. As camera guys, we'd have to ride horses too, carry our gear, plus camping gear and all that. And then you'd run ahead, tie up your horse and hop out, get on the trail and film them go by and get back on your horse and ride and catch up. It was a lot of work, but man alive was it fun. I hope that it's enough to just give these guys a taste. Like maybe they want to go do this someday, you know?
I think I just hit my stairs climbed goal. Hit my step goal earlier. Just knocking out the goals right now on my watch.
Cause I'm supposed to. I put my money in the IRA cause I'm supposed to. I pledge allegiance to the USA cause I'm supposed to.
This place is pretty cool just because it's where my dad learned how to film, and this is where he kind of started XO with his buddies, and they spent winters and summers out here learning how to do things. And I had very many stories, so it's just cool to hear them all and actually be here myself, so yeah.
Sit up on this hill and a lot goes through my mind. Many ways I never thought I'd ever be back here. I worked here for 2 summers and a couple winters shooting an old show called Our 5 Sons Alaska. It was based on the parents and their 5 boys. And we got out here to shoot this show and we got hired. It was kind of our first big gig to get on a show and make a series, and nobody knew what they were doing. We all kind of had an idea. And this is where, out here and at the lodge, a small team of us figured out how to make stories into episodic shows. And long story short, that's the origin in a lot of ways, many ways, to Expedition Overland. It started out here. The last summer I worked here, I went back and took an overland trip. Had a little bit of money in my pocket for the first time, built my truck up a little bit, took my father-in-law to Moab, And a few months later had the idea, you know what, maybe we can make a show based on traveling by vehicle and seeing the world. Fast forward 11 years later or more, here we are again, thinking back on all of that. And it's insane how much life has been in between. And it's excellent to have my boy with me, Cyrus. And my goal from coming out here was a little bit of nostalgia for me, but I also know the power of this place and what it can do for young men, young people in general, but I know young men getting to experience Alaska wilderness, being way out here by a float plane only, telling hunting stories, killed a black bear over there, saw the greatest wolf I've ever seen over here. How can that not take hold in them? And I hope it does, so that they learn the value of wilderness, the value of being outdoorsmen. And this is probably one of the coolest places on earth for me. I'm glad to show all of you a little piece of it. I hope the other guys like it. They seem to. There's a lot of stoic faces. This crew is a stoic crew. And that doesn't mean there's not a lot going on in there. There's a ton. I can tell they're just soaking things in. It's fun to watch.
An area like this, when you look out here, really kind of reminds you of how small you are in the world. And sometimes you think what happens in your own life is really important, but this terrain reminds you that we're just a speck, on the spectrum of time and in the world. And maybe we shouldn't focus so much on the small little problems in our daily life. And this kind of helps remind me that I need to not think about those things and just maybe appreciate the big picture. Spend more time outside.
My childhood of reading Jack London became real. I think Call of the Wild and all those stories of Alaska adventures, it puts it into real context. Okay, I get it. I see what that means.
I like that.
There's that better.
That feels good. Natural height.
Incredible, incredible, incredible. Just incredible.
We only have one night here, but we could spend a month if we had it our way. Our Alaska experience is off to a phenomenal start. Already, its scale and beauty is making an impression. The journey ahead will be nothing short of remarkable. But for now, we'll make our way back to the lodge, where I intend to introduce you and this crew to an American legend that you have never heard about. So stay tuned for Chapter 2, The Last Frontier.